My name is A.J. Lang. I'm the chairman for the Board of Zoning Appeals. We'll go ahead and start this meeting, May 14th, 2025. It is 5:30.
I will go ahead with the roll call.
Call to order. Roll call.
Brian Rutherford.
Present.
Daniel Ryan is absent. Rosemary Mail.
Present.
Tim Orick is joining us on Zoom.
And present.
Thank you. Andrew Belt is absent, and AJ Lang.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additions or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none. Is a disclosure of conflicts of interest? None. Disclosure of external contracts or discussions about this matter? Okay. The approval of the minutes of January 29th, 2025.
Approve.
Do I hear a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Board reports. Board of County Commissioners actions.
Or the protocol that we have for the meetings. And really, since this board is so unique and different from our other zoning boards and planning commission and the quasi judicial actions that they have, it really would be helpful for this board to have a training session. So we will invite our legal staff to help us with that training session. So plan on a meeting on June 11th. Hopefully you can make it. And we'll have the meeting here at this time, same place. No other hearing item, just the training session. So happy to answer any questions on that. We'll send out a reminder. As far as the other board actions, there are no other Board of County Commissioners actions or planning commission actions that would affect the BZA. However, we did want to also update the board on our ongoing update for our zoning and subdivision regulations. We've been working with an advisory committee with representatives from the Planning Commission and both the East and West zoning boards and other stakeholders in the county that serve on that advisory committee, and also the Planning Commission. We've given a couple of updates. We're ongoing updating the entire set of zoning and subdivision regulations, and we anticipate that to be concluded next year. So it's about a 2-year process. We're just starting out the initial drafts, but we wanted to let everybody know about that as well.
Do they foresee changing the acreage requirements?
Acreage for?
Requirements in the rural area of the county?
I am not aware of any changes to the minimum acreage requirements for rural areas, but that may be something that comes up as a result of the discussion. We haven't had any public hearings yet, so I'm sure we'll have plenty of comments from the public. We will also have, once we have the draft regulations ready for review and discussion, we will post those online. So we'll probably provide an update to all of our boards where we have draft regulations that are out there for the public to comment on. We'll have opportunities for the public to weigh in on that. And then, of course, we will ultimately have a public hearing with the Planning Commission. And then these the new regulations would need to be adopted by the Board of County Commissioners, for final adoption. But it's a long process and we'll have plenty of opportunity for input. We're just starting now, and so I just wanted to give everyone a heads up on that. So that's it for board reports. Happy to answer any questions.
Since there's no other reports, then let's go ahead and get to application number 25-486.
Good evening, Michelle Leiniger, County Planning Staff. This application is for consideration of variances at 15689 Lake Road 5 to allow for a front yard setback of 15 feet, a rear yard setback of 0 feet, when the code requires front yard setback of 25 feet and a rear yard setback of 5 feet. Here's a locational map for you. The subject property circled in red. It's on kind of the south west side of Gardner Lake. Here is an aerial showing existing conditions and the floodplain, which is the blue on the north. The property is 3,763 square feet of platted lot, with an approximately 1,180 square foot house on the property. Here is a visual comparison of the existing house and lot and the proposed house and lot. On the left, the 1,180 square foot house, existing house, is approximately 3.5 feet from the front property line, which is the bottom here, and approximately 7.5 feet from the rear property line. On the right, the proposed 1,700 square foot house shows the requested 15-foot front yard setback and 0-foot rear yard setback. And just something to note here, again, this is the aerial with the floodplain. This property is just the platted lot. It does not include the lakefront parcel, which is mostly floodplain. There is an opportunity to combine those two parcels, but it would not allow for the house to be much closer to the rear property line due to the floodplain. And there are only properties adjacent to the east and west due to the lake and the road. The applicant is proposing to meet the required side yard setbacks with the proposal. So here's the Board of Zoning Appeals Authority, which is outlined by state statute. The BZA must find that all 5 criteria are met in order to grant a variance. We'll just go through quickly the variance criteria. There's 5. The first one is about the conditions of the property, which are not typically found in the area and created by the zoning regulations. The circumstance of the subject property and lot area is not ordinarily found in the PRU 1B district and in the area adjacent to Gardner Lake. This situation is not self-created since it was platted in 1959. And generally, the lots were platted at 5,000 square feet, which is about 1,200 square feet smaller. This subject property is about 1,200 square feet smaller than what we would typically see in the Gardner Lake area. The request allows for replacement of the existing house with one of similar size. And if the lot is replatted to include the lakefront parcel, due to the floodplain and loss of non-conforming setback status, the lot would be more difficult to redevelop due to those larger setbacks. For the second criteria, regarding the rights of adjacent property owners, there would be no detrimental effects to the nearby properties due to the variance setbacks requested are to the front and rear, not to the setbacks where there are adjacent properties. Criteria number 3, the strict application of the zoning regulations would create an unnecessary hardship due to the property owner for the reason that if the building was constructed based on the non-conforming setbacks, the new house would have to be smaller than the existing home. The existing house has leaking foundation issues, and without the variance, the applicant would not be able to redevelop the property at the level that it exists today. For criteria number 4, allowing the front and rear yard variance will not negatively affect the public health, safety, and welfare because it would be making a front setback situation more compliant than what it is today. The upgrade to the structure and condition would be a positive, and the proposed house will not be any closer to the adjacent property owners on the side than what is permitted by right. For the last criteria, granting the requested variance would not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the zoning regulations, as certain provisions have been included for non-conforming situation, which allows for development and redevelopment in property. However, in this situation, replatting to further meet the regulations would require would make the situation worse due to the loss of non-conforming setbacks and then the floodplain. So staff does find that all the criteria are met in this situation and does recommend approval of the variance to allow front yard setback of 15 feet and a rear yard setback variance of 0 feet on property at 15689 Lake Road 5. And then here's a recommended motion if that's based on the staff report. Again, if you wish to do something different from what staff has recommended, the board will have to make their own findings to support that decision. And with that, I can take any questions, and the applicant is also here.
What's the actual square foot of the house only? The new.
Just we'll let the applicant address that when she's up at the microphone. The square footage that is shown in the staff report includes the deck because those are attached to the porch. One of them, or attached to the structure. One of them is covered, and therefore it's considered part of the structure.
Anyone else have any questions for staff? Tim? Do you have any questions?
I do not. I'm wondering, could we run that slide back to the one that showed the before or the existing in the, yeah, that one, thank you. That helped. Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, if there's no other questions for staff, then if we can have the applicant, please. Would you like to present any information?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, may I ask if any questions, if we could have restate it, and the applicant would be happy to answer them. Thanks.
Okay.
What is the approximate square footage of the actual house and not including the decks?
So the perimeter of the house, not including the deck, is 1,344 square foot. We don't have the interior square footage because we didn't want to extend the additional expense until we had approval.
That worked.
Nothing? Nothing? Tim, do you have any other questions for the applicant?
I do not, thank you.
Okay, if there's no other questions for the applicant, then we can open up. If anyone in the audience would like to speak? No.
Chair, we have one person on Zoom. I just want to remind them if they wish to provide comment, if you can use the raise hand function to let us know.
Hearing none then, let's go ahead and close the public hearing. Go ahead.
Motion to close public hearing?
Pardon?
We need a motion to close the hearing?
Yes, please.
Make a motion to close public hearing?
Andrew Belt, I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right. Anyone's, do you have any comments?
I don't. I hope you all are excited for your new house. Be a market improvement.
Almost,
I think so.
yeah. So I recommend motion to approve.
Yep.
I move that the board approve application number 25-486-BZA, GA for a variance at 15689 Lake Road 5 Street to allow a front back setback of 15 feet where the regulations require 25 feet, and to allow a rear yard variance of 0 feet where the regulations require 5 feet, for the reason that the request complies with all the criteria required for approval as said by the zoning regulation and state statutes, more specifically set forth in the findings of fact recommended by staff.
Got a motion? Do I hear a second?
Andrew Belt, I second that.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Unanimous decision.
You're approved.
Thank you. Is there any other business that needs to come in front of this board? Hearing none, I favor entertainment of.
Any other business? Yeah. Make a motion to dismiss everybody.
Thank you. Got a motion, do I hear a second?
Yeah, second. By
All in favor
Rosemary.
say aye.
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 All opposed? Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your thoughts.